So I'm now on month 2 of my no buy year, and I've been working through a lot of mental and emotional stuff, a lot of mental and emotional clutter, which has made me really think about my physical clutter, my physical environment, and how related that is to how I feel emotionally inside and energetically. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity to call in my friend Kim, the clutter coach, and have a conversation about that, about our mental and emotional clutter in relation to our physical clutter. So I hope you enjoy. Hi, Kim. Thanks so
Hi,
much for being
Iona.
here. How are
Oh,
you
I'm so glad
doing?
to be here. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I'm really good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I help busy women and men eliminate overwhelm and get organized, both inside and out. So their physical, mental, and emotional clutter.
The work that you do, I just love it. I've known you for a couple of years now, and I'm like, "Oh, yes, the world needs you. The world needs this woman." And I need to
Yeah,
say,
and despite us being in totally different countries, what's beautiful about the work that we both do is we do it virtually. Just like we're talking over the phone, over Zoom here, I'm able to teach my clients virtually not only how to clear their clutter, but the reasons why they were attracted to clutter in the first place.
yes. And this is exactly what we're going to have a conversation about today. I'm currently going through a no buy year. I'm not buying anything that I don't need.
Yeah.
And it's been a really interesting realization because I've been using spending as a way to avoid feeling painful feelings and feeling my emotions. And I feel many people use external things to soothe themselves. And
Yeah.
spending was definitely one of those things. And in the 2 months that I've been doing it, so it's February now, started in January, I have really noticed that it's like I feel like I've had a hole, like a gap in myself to fill with things, and that spending has been a huge part of that.
Yeah.
And I know that the work that you do is mostly about the emotional stuff, the emotional clutter, the mental clutter, which manifests as the physical clutter. So I'm really, really interested to speak to you about that today, about the emotional and mental clutter. Because I've been decluttering emotionally and mentally this past
Yeah,
little while, and it has
exactly.
been fascinating. It's been so fascinating. I also want to start to translate that and transfer that into my physical reality. Where do we start when we're talking about
On
clutter?
that word lack, I think,
Okay.
right? Because as you said, we're trying to fill this hole, fill this void, fill this time, fill this space. And the interesting thing about clutter is people are often so focused on lack, and yet they are surrounded by stuff. So it's this catch 22 of not having enough time, not having enough space, not having enough mental space, and yet they're surrounded. And yet those things don't bring them happiness. They bring them overwhelm, guilt, anxiety, frustration, and more. Tension within relationships. So when we say less is more, less really is more. More time, more space, more time to think, um, easier. Everything's easier. Everyone that I speak to, when they're looking to work with me, when I say, if I could snap my fingers and everything has a place, how would you feel and what's the life you'd be living? And they're like, oh, just simple, easy.
Wow, that's so true. And when you were talking there, I was thinking about the space and how in this past couple of months, maybe even a year, I've been giving myself a lot of emotional space to
Mm.
feel, and how important that is, but how we don't ever I feel like we're almost programmed to be afraid of space.
Yeah.
Like we have to fill the space. We have to fill the space in conversations. We have to fill the space on our desks with things.
Yeah, I was speaking to somebody earlier this week, where they said clutter equal. She said, I've gotten used to clutter equaling comfort.
Mm,
And there was certainly a time, especially, when things cost so much and people didn't have a lot of income, like, after the wars and all that kind of thing, where people really held on to stuff, and they found they invested in like a dining room set, and they'll have this for their life, and then they're going to pass that on to their kids. It's now a very, very different set of values. People no longer hold on to stuff like that. We sell it on Marketplace, on Facebook. It's a real recycled or using culture. We just accumulate and we consume, consume, consume. And
Mm,
therefore, it consumes our time. It consumes our energy to maintain these things. We can't maintain them. So then they're not fixed. So then they're broken. So then we feel guilty over the money we spent. And then we feel guilty over throwing them away. It's
mm,
like, get out of this clutter cycle already,
absolutely. And because we feel like we're lacking, we need the thing, right? We need the
Yeah.
thing. Like
But
I'm
what is the thing you're seeking?
mm,
What are you
yeah,
trying to fill with that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Boredom, time, maybe, you're single, you're widowed, whatever the case may be. So you're trying to fill your time. Well, that shopping, that top, that thing that you buy, that's only a momentary high. It's like having a drink. It's only a momentary thing. It doesn't
Mhm.
really fill your soul. It's an escapism thing.
It is an escape, yeah. I feel any addiction is an escape from your current reality, because your current reality is causing pain, emotional pain. So, or you've experienced something traumatic which has created emotional pain for you. It's not about the traumatic event as such, it's about what's happened to you as a result of that event, right? So thinking about our parents, my parents and my grandparents, right, going through a traumatic event such as a world war, and my parents being the kind of the receivers of that in their childhoods, and never being taught how to really be with themselves and transform and move through difficult emotions and traumatic events and experiences, and substituting that relief, that emotional relief, when we sit with ourselves and others and are heard and are validated and seen, with the external things that make us feel for a split second that comfort, that relief, that validation, that seen.
Yeah. And I don't want to take away from anybody's joy. If you do love buying something and you're going to use it, love and use, that's the golden ticket. That's not clutter. And even collections, if you have a collection that you can't wait to get to on the weekend or off work hours, and you're going to, like, you sew, you make amazing creations, your sewing machine is not covered in dust. You're actually creating with that. I have so many clients who have a craft room packed with stuff, bins filled, and they can't even barely get into the room, much less have a surface to then create. And a lot of people think, oh, a messy desk is a creative mind or something like that. Yeah, you can tell yourself that, but if you can't even clear a space, can you imagine you're trying to sew an outfit, or how
Impossible.
you can't do it here.
Mhm.
You have to have some space.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Creativity as well, like to have the creative vision, I feel like we need space, we need to stretch, we need to stretch out to really feel and see. And so I was wandering around, I went shopping yesterday, I had a voucher to spend yesterday, and I needed new gym clothes. And even though I am doing this no buy year, whenever I feel like I really really need something, like that I don't have, that I need, that I'm going to use, I will go and get it, and I will be more conscious in my choosing of what it is that I want. Like I'm not just going to go out and buy any old thing, which is what I used to do, and be
yeah.
more selective. So I went to one of my favorite department stores in the city, which is a very luxurious experience. And
Hmm.
I had a couple of hours, and I had money in the bank for the first time in a long time, because I'm doing this no buy year and I haven't been like binge spending. And I
Mhm.
was walking around the store feeling really at ease and really like a different version of myself, because I
Mhm.
previously I'd be like in lack, running around going, oh my gosh, I need to find the thing, and it
On
needs to
sale.
be, yeah, it needs to be on sale, and it needs to be this and that, and it's like, oh, it's almost a panic
Yeah.
feeling. But yesterday I was able to go around the store and enjoy my time And I felt like, oh my gosh, this is like, this is a whole new experience for me. This is amazing. And I was looking at really beautiful pieces. I love fashion. I worked in fashion. I love fashion. I love collecting beautiful pieces. And it's something that I've always dreamed of doing, having the beautiful walk-in closet with the shoes and the bags and the curated collection of beautiful items. And
Yeah.
yesterday, I kind of felt closer to that version of myself, that version who curates, she chooses because she appreciates beautiful things, the quality of things, and the way that they make her feel. And it was such a fun experience. And what a difference to me going around going, like manic buying, panic, manic buying, you know?
Yes, exactly. And when you've got that clear vision, like you were not shopping, you were purchasing.
Mm. Oh, yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
And yet you enjoyed it. It wasn't, you chose a play, everything you just described. And that thing you're purchasing, I'm assuming, is going towards your exercise routine, which is for the betterment of everything that you're doing for yourself, your soul, your body. So it feels good on so many levels. And while you're in that shopping experience, like Abraham Hicks says, she had $100 in her pocket, or, and you're like, I could buy that, I could buy that, I could buy that, I could buy that. And
Yeah,
you could just enjoy the feeling of abundance rather than lack mentality, and still walk out of the store with nothing, or
yeah,
that one really special purchase that makes
yeah.
you look great, feel great. And that's what I say to people about their closets. If we could transition to that, just on the practical side, is, see, clutter is unmade decisions, and our closets are often filled with a lot of unmade decisions. And when you, and that's why it's overwhelming, because we get out of practice of making decisions. We either ask somebody else what their opinion is, and so we're not tuning into our own source, our own strength, because we're too busy, cluttered, mind, all of that kind of thing. We can't think. If we could just stop, slow down, think, tune in, we know what we want. And therefore, the decision is easier. And so when we have a simplified wardrobe, or like you just described, a room where everything has its place and shoes are on a shelf and you can just put together the most magical outfit, well, that is just pure pleasure. And that's where you want to get to, rather than this closet stuff, laundry that's piling up, things that are broken, don't fit, don't suit you, that type of thing.
Mm. So powerful. And I have a closet, I have a wardrobe full, I have boxes, I have like clear plastic 80-liter boxes full of clothes that I'm almost saving for that walk-in wardrobe day. But I don't, but many of these clothes I don't wear, and many of them I've made myself, and I almost have this like emotional attachment to them.
Okay.
And it's like I don't know what to do with it. Like I've made it, I put a lot, I invested a lot of time in making it, right? So, and I might wear it once a year when the sun comes out in that one day in Glasgow. It's like most of it's like, I was just wearing tracksuit and raincoats.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but on that one-off day, that off chance that I might want to wear it, I'm like saving it for that point. And I feel like that's not the best use of my space.
Yes, yes. So now you're getting onto sentimental clutter, or
Mm,
sentimental stuff. I don't want to label it as clutter, because so it's something that you've just described, sentimental clutter. You've put time, energy. You can imagine the same thing would be like, if any busy moms are listening, their kids' outfit when they first went to school. You went and bought that for them, or their first outfit when they got out of diapers, or the first, there's all these firsts, especially with kids and parenting. I don't have kids, but I have many busy moms as clients. And then it could be sentimental clutter. I had a male client who he was the third generation of this family business. And there were literally up behind him, there were on the shelf were two briefcases back when men carried briefcases, one
mm,
from his dad and one from his granddad, covered in dust, hadn't even opened them. But And he got choked up about that. And when we worked through, so here's the answer about how to do that, is when we worked through all the other areas of clutter that are easier, like
Mm.
clothes. I mean, in your case, clothes have a sentimental thing.
Crazy. Yeah.
Let's just say clothes without sentiment, or books or papers. Uh, once I work up your decluttering and decision making muscle, and once that muscle gets stronger, you see success, you see stuff going out, you see space, you start to feel lighter. Then we do sentimental at the very end. So for your listeners, if anyone has sentimental clutter, do not start with that to begin. You will find it very difficult. You'll feel like you failed, and you will feel like you haven't gotten anywhere. So anytime you find sentimental stuff, clothes, books, papers, all of it can have some sentimentality, right? Like photographs or a photograph album or a piece of that you created, then just put that off in a sentimental bin, marked as sentimental. Like, I don't really see myself wearing this anymore, or whatever the case is. And then deal with it sentimentally once you've gone through the other areas of clutter if you're decluttering. That
Mm.
makes sense.
Absolutely, that's really great advice, Kim. Yeah, absolutely. It does make sense to work your decluttering muscles, like really.
Those other things, they're too emotionally charged. So you can
Mm,
release some of those emotions by going through some of the other bits of your clutter. You're going to feel the overwhelm and the anxiety lessen so that you won't be as emotionally triggered when you look at those things. And
mhm,
you'll be clearer. Your brain will be clearer too.
absolutely. Perfect. So I'm a confidence coach and I love teaching people all about confidence. And a lot of my confidence, I guess, has been weighed down by the lack, by the stuff. It's been really hard for me to tap into my true, authentic, confident self because I have all this emotional and mental clutter kind of
Mhm.
going on in the background. So, one of the things that, especially doing this no buy year so far, has really helped me to do is to decide, to rediscover and then choose who my true self is, my true authentic confident self is. And actually my true authentic confident self is free. She's unburdened by the stuff and by the
Yeah.
mental and emotional stuff. And it's much easier for me to tap in to my truth and to my instincts when I am choosing things. When I'm going through my wardrobe and selecting what to wear, I tap into my intuition and decide what makes me feel joyful in that moment to wear. So when we're looking at the lack, do you find that like a lot of your clients kind of evolve, like become a truer version of themselves, like once they've like stripped off all these layers of mental and emotional stuff and then the physical stuff?
Absolutely. It's all linked, right? So one client in particular comes to mind because she had a really hard time voicing her opinion. She's the youngest within a large family. So always thought as the baby, kind of thought as the weird one. She described herself as that weirdo. And and she didn't want to pass that on to her children. One child was very anxious, the other is just very physically free. Um, And this affected her mostly in her business. So not only did I help her declutter her kids' play area and her bedroom, and just help her make decisions also on decor, paint colors, things that were, this might not seem like clutter coaching, but it was all an expression of her home, your clothes, whatever. It's all an expression of you. And she didn't feel comfortable enough even having some of her family over because she felt judged. And they had neater homes, bigger homes, homes that were painted properly, all that kind of thing. Well, by the end of it, we got the correct paint colors. Like, she was so caught up and so busy in the head, and such a busy mom. I mean, business owner, two little kids, anxiety, la, 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 that it was so tough for her to make decisions. She wanted me to tell her everything, and I wanted to empower her. So we got there. And one of the biggest things she speaks about is how she's able to speak about things say, without getting all choked up, say what she needs, set boundaries. We decluttered her home, we decluttered her salon, and this was during COVID times. And I have some really wonderful pictures. If anybody's listening and they want to see those pictures,
Yes.
follow me, go to my website, kimsneath.com, and you'll see those, or my Facebook stuff. Because it was all crowded, and I went to her for hair, and I was sitting there. This is how she became a client. I was sitting there, and I was like just looking at all this stuff in front of me, and the mirror, and product, and magazines, and it was just so cluttered. This salon area, and it was totally zen at the end. We got this big, gorgeous round mirror, painted the walls all one soothing color. She's an organic hairstylist with organic products. So I said, let's bring out the plant essences, and let's bring out just plants, and then neutral colors and wood accents. And so because her salon became reflective of her brand, which was reflective of her true inner desire, her clientele grew. She's so busy now. She has a waiting list, and she's, increased her prices, and she's selling more of that organic product. So this is when we focus on the lack and the clutter, we can't welcome all that in because there's no space.
Mm-hmm.
It completely transformed from her marriage, speaking to her husband, how she parents her children, how she manages things with her mom. We all get triggered by our moms, and how she's able to either let go of a client or welcome in a client, which was very difficult for her to have those difficult conversations. So I'm so glad you asked that about confidence. This is one of the things that can come forth. This is one of the more things that you can access from letting go and of holding on to all the stuff.
So awesome, so powerful. And it's like, yeah, I guess as women, we have to spin so many plates, don't we? We have so many
Yeah.
things. I mean, I'm not a mum, but
Yeah.
I know mums, and they're just, it's a constant plate spinning, never mind running your own business, XYZ, right? So clearing space so we can allow the stuff that we really, really want to come in, because the clutter, I guess, the things that I was buying, the things that I was like addictively collecting and buying, I didn't really want. They were just tools. They were just a reason for me to feel instantly better for a moment.
Yeah.
And not doing that and stopping doing that, I'm like, oh, what do I actually need? What I actually need is the money to stay in the bank account because
Yeah.
the relief that I feel for having that money in the bank account far outweighs the momentary relief that I'm going to get of having the thing. Because for yes, for a moment I'll feel relief, but probably soon after that I'll start to feel regret and remorse, and I wish the money was back in the bank account. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all energy, right?
yeah.
Money is just energy.
Yeah.
And so it is good to flow money through, let
Mm.
money come, let money go, let money out. But you are doing that by paying your bills,
Mhm.
by in your home, by if you have a car or a transit pass, money is still flowing out. It doesn't have to be on these items that we own. It can
Mhm.
be eat food. That's a way to nourish your soul, nourish your body. There's all kinds of ways that money is still flowing. So this no buy year, I like to think of it almost as I don't know what word comes to mind, but just it's an allowing of energy,
Mhm. Yeah, it really is.
transference. You're transferring those physical things into something else, into
Mhm.
power, empowerment, energy, confidence, space, thinking, whatever.
Absolutely. So starting then from that emotional place, doing the emotional work, going from the lack, from the going without, from the not having enough, where do we go next from that
Yeah.
place?
So we start with going within,
Mhm.
because that's where the truth lies. And so that's one of the first things I do with my clients is like, well, even before they become my clients, I'm like, well, why now? Because most of these people have had clutter for all their lives or 5 years or since that circumstance happened. Circumstances like, oh, I had twins, I haven't caught up since, or, oh, since my mom passed away in the grief and I inherited all her things, I've been stuck ever since, or buried under, or feeling like I'm suffocating. So starting from this now point, what is it that you want to move forward into? Where are you going to, rather than let's let go of the past because clutter is the past, or it's worries about the future. Let's be in the now. And why do you want to get organized? Because just saying I want to get organized is gigantic when somebody's had this much clutter. Just like somebody who is very overweight, I want to lose weight. That's just so much to take in, or make more money. So break it down, and it has to be juicy. So why do you want to get organized? Well, I want to sell my house in another 6 months, and we want to go down south for half of the year. Or um, I want to roll out my yoga mat again, and I want to have my family over. I haven't even had my own family over for dinner because I'm too embarrassed to have anybody over, and they have really neat homes. I go to their homes, and there's no way I'm letting them into my home. Or I want my kids to be able to have play dates again. I know that they're starting to understand, because they're going to other kids' houses, that our house is different. And I'm feeling guilty, you know? So all of that type of thing, what is your why? So when we go within and we find out your why, that's the strong carrot that you can dangle as you go through the process of making the decisions and letting go of the stuff, both mentally and physically and in your life.
Mm, amazing. I love it. So why? So my why for sure is freedom. I want freedom, and I want the freedom to move. So my partner and I would love to purchase a house, get our own place,
There you
because
go.
we're renting currently, and we're still both saving. So it might take a while, might take a while, but at the same time, we love where we live just now, and being able to appreciate it more, I guess, with more space. And yeah.
Yeah, appreciate your current space. And like, I used to be an actor, so I used to move around a lot, and I'd have an apartment for like a couple of months, and my main apartment in the city would still be with all my stuff, but I would still have to make that apartment. I know, it was part of my creativity. I couldn't really rest properly or settle properly, learn my lines, and feel at home in this new space, because it's very ungrounding, especially to a Taurus like me, who's an earth sign, to be going from home to home. And so I would even paint places. So you don't have to go that far, but like get a duvet cover that you love, or like have some things, plants, living things. And a lot of these things are free. You can get cuttings from people and start to grow plants. Like find something that you love and make that your home, and know that you can bring that to your next home, that it's worthwhile, right? And
Mm,
picture that in the home that you and your partner are going to buy, because you will buy it, and you won't be renting forever, and you won't be living here forever. You
mm.
will move on to that space.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. My partner's he's an actor also, and
Yeah.
he is constantly working in various places. So the thought of being able to just go and hang it with him for a little while is really exciting.
Yeah.
Get a cat sitter in, right? Or someone like that.
And that's freedom.
Yeah, it is.
That's freedom. And so then let's tie that back into emotions. And you and I know about this work. Tune into the energy. One, if that was what somebody wants and you want that, tune into whatever is freeing. So being able to take a big deep breath is freeing. Being able to go on a walk is freeing. Being able to take a nap because you have time is freeing. I am free in these moments. And the more you expand on those free thoughts, the more you're going to not seek out more stuff, not seek out clutter, be able to let go of those things, because they will bump up against the new current now you, not the past you that wanted all those things. And I want to say, I haven't said this yet in this call. There's no judgment to anybody listening who has got clutter. I get it. It's hard. So that's the past you. If you're ready now, then just embrace the new you. It's okay that you had that and that maybe you're currently in this place, but focus on what you want. And if that's freedom or ease or simplicity, Zen, whatever that is, and just expand on that. And the more that you imagine it, the more that it can come about and you'll attract it in.
These are so yummy, like these are so tasty and yummy and almost like really like, there's such delicious feelings and emotions to calibrate to, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Tapping into
Especially,
those.
yeah, especially like satisfaction and like, so I cleared out my work drawers at the weekends and I was clearing out all my old coaching client stuff. And that
Mm,
was really satisfying to get rid of really like client paperwork and things. It felt satisfying because that work was complete and
perfect.
it felt really like it's such a satisfying feeling and also a freeing feeling like that person has freedom now and I have freedom too, and it's like we're free of
Yeah.
that stuff. I'm free of that stuff, they're free of that stuff.
And you
Yeah.
literally have, I mean, just more physical space in that binder or wherever you were keeping those files. And now you have this more mental space of imagining these new wonderful clients coming in, because that, I love that. That is complete. I think that's one thing that a lot of people crave who have clutter is nothing feels done. I just want to check off that list. I just want to say that the laundry is done. I just want to say that everything's got a place. Well, that example that you just gave is that example of, ah, it's it's complete. There's a grounding, settled, satisfying feeling that comes with that.
Mm, yes, and it is. It's like when I've decluttered something, when I've cleared something out, and I have like recycled or done whatever I wanted to do, it is very much a completion, feels complete.
Yeah.
And I see that space in a new light. I see that space in a new, before previously the drawer was hard to get closed because it
Yeah.
was like spilling over with all this paperwork. And now the drawer is, I can open it and close it. And I'm thinking about all the space in the folders where I'm going to have new client information and whatnot. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very much it's a very freeing feeling. And whilst that drawer was full of paperwork, it's not like I couldn't have those feelings and have that completion, but it was very much a cathartic, like emotional, mental, and physical process of feeling complete and accepting and viewing the space. That makes
Yes,
sense.
yes. I
Yeah.
have this quote that I love to share. Um, and it says, abundance is a process of letting go. That which is empty can receive.
Mm,
So you're putting yourself in the receiving mode with that action, which is probably
yeah,
why it feels so satisfying.
absolutely. And just like spending is an energy, is a flow of energy. I feel like letting go of things is a very much a flow of energy. Like when we let go of things, when we almost, I'm surrendering this stuff out into the universe, and I'm now open to receive whatever else is going to come my way. Like
Yeah,
it's almost like a loop, like a cycle of receiving and letting go and receiving and letting go.
that's grace.
Mm,
Right. And that's why I use it as the acronym to my 5-step method. We already talked about going within. G is going within. And we're talking about release. The R in grace is release without fear, because there's so much fear, the hanging on. I might need it just in case. So on. A is alignment. Are you aligned with those goals and that vision now that you're sort of halfway through the process, or you've been letting go? And then just the physical alignment, sort like with like there's always I always have a practical method of the decluttering, but also the inner work to it. C is cultivate habits. Let go of those old habits, say shopping or overspending, and let in new ones, maybe in that time. And to relieve that escapism, you're going to write, or you're going to go on nature walks, or you're going to exercise. And so you're switching one habit out for a better habit that suits you more now. So C is cultivate habits of grace, and E is embrace, empower, and embody, because you are now a new version of yourself. Not a lot of people think of themselves as this messy person, or they were labeled that as a child, or, oh, you're always this mess, or this chaotic, or, you know, crazy, or something like. And you've got to, now that you've gone through all of that, who are you now? Who do you want to be? And who do you want to embody?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. That's so powerful. That's so cool, Kim. The acronym. That's brilliant. So say it to me again. G is
So it's space for grace.
A for
G
grace.
is go within.
Go within.
R is release.
Hmm.
A is align. C is cultivate habits. E is embody, embrace. And the cultivate habits, as far as like when, just to take it back to a practical thing, when people are like, I want to get organized, here's the 4 steps, the practical steps of getting organized. Declutter first. You cannot possibly organize mass amounts of stuff. That's why you feel overwhelmed. The first step is not running out and getting bins and shelves and a solution. Everybody, they call it, I just need a system. I need a solution. Yes, eventually. But you have to reduce the amount first so that you reduce the overwhelm you can think. Then once you have, rather than this, you have this left, then you can sort. That's step 2 in the practical aspects of getting organized. Sort like with like. I'm going to put my pens near my desk, and my toothpaste doesn't belong there. It belongs in the bathroom. So sort like with like, put it in the room it belongs, and then sort contain. Then you contain it. Well, if you have a lot of pens and pencils and you're on the go, a pencil case maybe makes sense. If you're always at home using them, maybe a cup makes sense. Maybe if you don't like to see everything, a drawer. So get a desk with a drawer. This is where the solutions start to come in, right? So it's got to be connected to your learning type, but also to how you're using the item. So see, there's 3 different ways to carry around some pencils or find them. And then the last one is maintain. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it links to that C, cultivate habits. Once you're decluttered, once you're organized, of course, it doesn't stay like that forever. It's like, once we get a haircut, we have to maintain it in between sessions, appointments. So maintain your systems. And if it's not working, adjust it. So those are the 4 simplest practical steps of getting organized.
Genius. Absolutely genius. It's so good. I love it. What made you decide to do this? From
Well, it started with, like, as I mentioned, I used to be an actor, a very creative singer, dancer, actor in music theater. And I had a house with my husband at the time, who was also in the industry. And we staged and renovated it. And it was the first time I ever staged a property. And for anyone who doesn't know what staging is, it's bringing furniture and artwork to make a home really sell quicker. And my realtor, we got 9 offers and 100,000 over asking. And this was in 2007. And this was when my business was born, because she said, well, that went well. Would you like to do this as a business? I can start sending you clients. And I said, okay. And here I was, like, I had all like music and creativity, but I had been coaching. I'd been working for a company in coaching. And she started sending me clients. And at the time, my husband and I worked together. He was doing all like the painting and the beautifying of the home. I was decluttering it all and then bringing in staging. So it was like a full service thing. And then we got divorced actually the year following. And then I really started to morph my business. I joined the professional organizers in Canada. I mentored with some other organizers because I thought, I've always been organized. I don't hang on to a lot of stuff, but it's one thing to be that way. It's another thing to teach it, and to all different styles of people. So I mentored with them for some number of years. And then I got my focus, because there's all sorts of professional organizers. There's downsizers, there's people who work with just paper, all sorts. And I found my niche. And then I was like, I know I could teach this virtually. I know I could do this over the phone or um, Zoom or whatever. And I have clients all over North America. I've had one European client in Hester. Where does Hester live? You know Hester.
Amsterdam, I think.
Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Netherlands.
So world domination coming soon, but but yeah, it works. It works. I've had clients everywhere. So
It does. It does work. You gave me some pointers on my closet in my bedroom, my wardrobe.
oh, yeah.
I've got a freestanding wardrobe, and I've also got a walk-in closet, because the bedroom where I'm just now used to be the kitchen, and this is like a 150-year-old building. It's been refurbished a couple of times.
The small closets.
Yeah, totally. So the closet in the bedroom is actually the pantry, the old pantry.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
it had not, when I sent you those photos last year, it had not been decorated, I don't think, since maybe like the 40s or 50s.
Huh.
So it had like yellow walls
Yes.
that weren't always yellow, right? They were white.
I
And
remember those pictures. You did such a wonderful job with it.
like it was riotous. And I remember saying to you, I remember you asking me what I wanted the space to be. And I said I want it to be like a place for my design, my bags and my shoes, and a place where I can place my curated items that I love to look at and appreciate, and just be easy to walk in
Joy.
there and select what I want. And I said to you that I had boxes filled with like sentimental stuff. I
Mm,
remember you saying to me like, that doesn't sound like the place where you would keep that. That doesn't sound like that would go in there. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Why am I keeping my sentimental stuff in a closet where I want to curate my shoes and bags and whatnot? So yeah, it was really, really helpful. And it really motivated me to get the space right, like get the energy of the space right. And because it's a rented apartment,
mm,
I've painted, I've done what you did and have done, and I've painted and made it my own space. But in
yeah.
that closet, the walls were so badly like scuffed and damaged that painting it wouldn't have made much of an effect. So I got some sticky back wallpaper
Yeah.
and
I
then put
remember.
that on the walls, and then put up hooks for my hats and things, and
Yeah.
got some clear. And so I decluttered first, and
Yeah.
then I went and got the solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then I went online and had a spree where I was buying like clear shoe boxes and like really, really pretty things to hold
Yes.
stuff, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but no, I'm really
Where
happy with this.
that's where it can get, you can get to the fun. I'm
Mhm.
glad you're sharing that, because people look at this as daunting, overwhelming, as a headache. I don't want to do it. They avoid it at all costs. And you just described how you took one area with one clear vision of what you wanted, and then you really played with that area, and you followed my steps virtually, decluttered first, saw the vision, looked at the problems. Okay, paint. Okay, no, wallpaper, set up the shelves, hooks, and now you have it. And now you're able to maintain it, right?
Oh yeah, it's much way easier to maintain than it was when it was a scuffed old messy cupboard. Like
That's
because
right.
it's a vibe in there. I want to
That's
maintain that vibe, right?
yes, that's
I
right.
can.
That's an energy flow. It's like it's like you're saying, I love you, closet. I love you,
Mhm,
stuff. And
mhm.
the energy is flowing in there in a loving way. And then it's, yeah, you can imagine it almost alive.
It's appreciation, right? And appreciation, the value increases.
Mm.
So, and I'm appreciating what I have in there. Depreciation is like it goes down, appreciation it goes up. So I feel like I'm really appreciating the items that I have in there. Not only that, but I made it into some content. I made it into a reel,
Yeah.
me decorating the, which was
Yeah.
also super fun.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. Going for the fun, going for the
mhm,
fun. So that's the opposite of all this clutter weighing you down, right? And another quote I like to share, maybe this will be the last one, is it's from Peter Walsh, and he's from New Zealand or Australia. He's from Australia, and he's had all sorts of shows and all this. So look him up. He's written all kinds of books. And this is such a powerful quote. And he says, people hang on to their stuff like a life raft, when in fact, it's an anchor weighing them down,
wow,
right?
so
You can
perfect.
visualize that, you can feel it. Just let that life raft go and float. It's so
Yeah.
much freeing.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. It really is. So one last thing, Kim, what should we do if we have items that have been gifted to us?
Ah, yes, the old guilt clutter.
Yeah, the guilt clutter.
Okay, so here's what I tell people. The moment of the giving of the gift, that person loved you enough to give you a gift or cared about you, right? And so the giving, the gifting was in that moment, and you received it. And you received the energy of them either dropping it off or thinking about them spending it and wrapping it and making a card out. That was the gift. That was the gift. That was the moment. The actual item is, if especially if it's no longer serving you or doesn't fit for you, is now taking away from you. And nobody would ever want to give you something that takes away. That's not their intention, right? And when they gave it to you, it's now no longer theirs. They bought it, and so they temporarily owned it and transferred that ownership to you by giving it to you, gifting it to you. It is now yours to do whatever you want.
Mm, that's so powerful.
Cut the purse strings of the guilt. No more guilt. no more guilt. And
Mhm.
really think about it. How many times have have as I say this, I picture somebody who has like a really kind of overbearing, maybe mother-in-law or mother who comes over every day and would notice. But for most people, how many people come over to your house and are like, where's that thing? You
Yeah,
know?
where's that thing about you? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's the other thing is, and we talked about the client who had a hard time speaking up and saying your truth. If that person continues to gift you things that aren't suitable, well, that is, I think, the universe asking you to step forward and state your preferences, which will then switch the dynamic, because that person doesn't want to give you, garbage. So, and I know it's hard to state that, but let's say that keeps happening. I had a friend whose mother-in-law kept gifting them stuff, and she had a very specific aesthetic and design sense, and none of the mother-in-law's stuff fit that. And so when I would go over visit, because she goes, "Oh, that's the closet for all that stuff," and then she pulls it out when they visit, because they didn't live in the same city, but she would like scatter it through the house. So like, so you're
That's
just
what
perpetuating that cycle, and that's a lot of work and draining
that's
of
a lot of
energy.
work. Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking of things that uh, gifts from people who perhaps passed away and who are no longer here, and holding on to that item again is sentimental, isn't it? It's like holding
And
on to that item. We believe that we're holding on to that person.
that's it. That person is in you, in your memories, in those happy times. And if if there's something like my dad passed away shortly after my husband and I, we our marriage ended. It's 2009, my dad passed away. I have, geez, I don't even think I have anything of his anymore now. I think I had a hat of his for a while, but I have all kinds of memories. I don't
Mhm.
need the thing.
Yeah,
And there's
absolutely.
pictures, of course, and
Yeah.
stories. If you want to keep somebody's memory alive, tell stories. Now that's a moment where you're actually sharing space with another, a family member, or maybe your child, your doesn't have his grandfather anymore. Tell stories. That's filling up your space with now and with something that's energetic. Don't need the thing.
I love it. That's so beautiful. Kim, this has been fantastic. Thank you so
Uh,
much.
You too. Great question. So fantastic speaking with you.
Mm. And I feel fully charged now. I feel really charged up to go and like tackle
Yeah.
all that stuff. Bring it on. And I, of course, will let you know how it goes. But yeah,
Yes.
I feel
Keep
like
me
I've
in.
done a lot of the work already. A lot of the pre-emotional work already has been done. So now it's time to get to the crux of the physical decluttering.
Good.
Because like you said, like that quote, like that the Peter Walsh quote, like it is an anchor. It is absolutely where me. It's like a really heavy bag or a really heavy coat and it's a hot summer's day, and it's like, oh, it's time to take it off. Time to delayer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful, Kim. Thank you so much. Well, so do you have anything you'd like to add before we finish?
If anybody's looking for me, I'm all over social media, and I find the easiest way to find that would be to go to my website, kimsneath.com. My socials are there. I also have a free thing right now called the Declutter Game. So that's on my website, and you can get that. And that specifically teaches you how to make decisions. I link it to your closet because that's the first place you should start with your clothes. Um, but you can apply, of course, making decisions and my method to almost anything. So it's a
Mm,
really valuable tool. It's literally the first thing my paying clients pay me for.
I'm gonna check that out. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll put all your links to everything in the description box below this video so that people can access you very easily and find you and go and get some of your awesome coaching. Yay.
Thanks
Amazing.
so much.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank
Brilliant.
you,
I
Iona.
I will be in touch again
Yes.
for
Yeah.
sure. Tell you all about my adventures, my decluttering adventures.
Yes, wonderful.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.